So you'll have 30 seconds for your introductory statement.
Yes. I'm Zoe Lofgren, your representative in Congress, and I appreciate your letting me participate remotely today. I'm stuck in the East Coast and don't get to come home until Friday. I have thoroughly enjoyed representing San Benito County in Congress. It's been a treat to meet the wonderful people who work there and to serve the people who care so much about their community. I think that the best way to understand what someone will do for you in the future is to take a look at what they've done in the past, and I'll discuss that further later.
For the first question, this is a community question. Is Hazel Hawkins Memorial Hospital's bankruptcy a failure of local control, or is the health district model no longer suitable? And what can Congress do to help small or rural hospitals?
Well, Hazel Hawkins is a huge concern of mine. I have been persistently in touch with their administration as well as their governing board. I think that there were a few missteps in the past, but the real problem is inadequate reimbursement for rural hospitals, not just Hazel Hawkins, but rural hospitals all over the United States. We need to increase reimbursement rates for the Medicare program in particular. I'm on a bill to do that. We also need to work with the state to up the reimbursement rates under the Medi-Cal program. That will help a great deal for Hazel Hawkins. I would like to note also that I was able to bring in some funding, nearly $3 million for healthcare services into San Benito County that I think will also help steady the boat for Hazel Hawkins. I know that this is an important issue for everyone who lives in Hollister. The idea that this hospital could go under and everyone would be forced to drive up to St. Louis and Gilroy is just unacceptable. So I plan to work, as I have with the hospital in Watsonville, with our state senator, John Laird, who's been very active, as well as we are lucky that Rob Rivas is the Speaker of the Assembly, so that we can have an all hands on deck, federal, state, and local.
Thank you. For the second question, the EPA states emissions from transportations accounts for 29%. Let me start again. The EPA states emissions from transportation accounts for 29% of total greenhouse gas emissions. How can the federal government help California counties like San Benito get commuter cars off the road?
Well, we took several big steps forward when the Democrats were in the majority in the House. We passed the Inflation Reduction Act. We passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and we also passed the CHIPS and Science Act. In each one of those massive bills, we have funding for electric vehicles as well as hydrogen vehicles. In the analysis, what we've learned is that electricity is probably not the answer for large diesel trucks, which is a major source of emissions. But what is possible is hydrogen as a source of fuel for those big trucks. California, I chair the California Democratic delegation. With the support of our delegation and the state government, we managed to pull in the majority of the funds for this hydrogen effort across the state of California. That's really going to help a lot. We have subsidies also for people that are transitioning to electric vehicles so that it could be more affordable for regular people. We need to have, and we are supporting through these bills, efforts to have charging stations, because that is also hugely important for people, especially people who live in rental housing who may not have the capacity to charge up in a garage. We have to have that completely available, and I thank you for the question.
Thank you. The third and last question is also a community question. San Benito County relies on farm workers who come from other countries. As Congress debates the immigration issues once again in 2024, what are your ideas for reform?
Well, I am the author of the Farm Work Modernization Act, the primary vehicle for addressing this situation. I led the effort with the United Farm Workers Union, Western growers, and other employers to craft a bill that would allow for farm workers, a majority of whom are without their papers in the United States, to gain legal status, as well as to streamline the temporary worker program to make sure that there are adequate protections for those workers, but it's also usable for the employers. That's why I think the United Farm Workers Union stepped forward immediately to support my candidacy for re-election. I'm grateful to the United Farm Workers Union, as well as many of the growers who have supported me because of this effort. We introduced this bill again. It's bipartisan. It's passed the House of Representatives twice and has gotten stuck in the United States Senate. So leading my colleagues, both Democrats and Republicans, we introduced the bill again this year in the hopes that the Senate will be able to pass it. I think if they are able to take an action, we'll once again get an overwhelming yes vote in the House of Representatives and finally do the right thing. The farm workers are putting food in our table, and it is really wrong that they have to look over their shoulders and worry about whether they will be deported and separated from their families while they are performing this essential service.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Now, for the last thing, you'll have a minute for a closing statement. You may begin whenever you're ready.
As I said, the best way to figure out what someone will do is to look at what they've done. Since redistricting gave me San Benito County, I have secured more than $91 million to bring into the county, everything from $750,000 to restore and preserve the mission in San Juan Bautista, to multiple millions for road projects, to a little bit shy of $1 million for healthcare programs. And just this last week, $250,000 for the Youth Alliance to help them in their good work, as well as more than $500,000 for the county of San Benito, which they desperately need. I also am proud that we have made costs less in the healthcare area. In the 18th Congressional District, we have over 71,000 individuals who need insulin, and they will get a break on price because of our efforts.
Thank you so much for your time, Congresswoman. That was all my questions. Thank you again for just taking the time and answering these questions for our farms. We appreciate it.